Hi, I'm Yegi. I'm an entrepreneur and success coach who wants it all: family, luxury, career, and the freedom to do whatever I want whenever I want. And I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I created the Yegi Project to document my journey and inspire others to do the same. My mission is to change the world by influencing and leading others to do what they love and live fulfilled lives. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Yegi Project. Today we have Yegi Asatryan, who is an entrepreneur and a life coach and a local business owner. We want to get to know her and see what she is all about and how she can inspire us today. So Yegi, with further ado, please go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you and what do you do?
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure. I've been listening to the show ever since you started, so I'm a big fan.
Oh, awesome. Well, happy to have you on the other side
Thank
now.
you. Thank you. Yeah. So I started off as a life coach. I had a few clients, I grew my business a little bit, and then life hit me in a different way. So I had to let go of the life coaching a little bit, and I got into entrepreneurship. So I own a cafe now. It's called What a Peach. And I worked in, because they have two other locations. I worked at the Studio City one for about 2 years, and I decided I'm going to take the risk and I'm going to open my own. So now I am an owner at What a Peach in Echo Park. Come visit me.
Awesome.
uh,
Congratulations.
Thank you so
And
much.
how long have you been an owner?
So the cafe's been about 3 to 4 months.
Oh,
Yeah, so
nice.
it's still my baby. We're still growing her.
That's great.
But yeah, so it's amazing. I like to say owning a business. I mean, coaching was my business, but it wasn't like a retail space. It was more my passion. It was more kind of like a hobby that you make money off of. But owning a business definitely brings out every flaw you've ever thought that you had to surface. So now I'm kind of trying to coach myself through the business.
Yes, I mean 4 months. It's still fresh, so
Yeah,
it'll
it's still
take some
fresh.
time. It'll take some time. But before you bought the business, you said you were working with another location, so you kind of know the ins and outs of the business because you were working there in advance. That's such a nice way to transition into ownership.
Yeah, so the owners are my brother-in-law and his brother. So it's like a little family franchise, I guess you can call it.
Nice.
So it was really nice because I had the both sides before I getting in. I was very blessed. I didn't start it on my own. They really, really guided me through the process. But it's like a little family thing. So I was on the side of the financial side too, and then I had the workers experience. So it's really nice to now be me and just me being the operator of everything.
Well, before we jump into the whole process of being an entrepreneur and your journey through it, can you take us back a little bit? How did you even know that's what you wanted to do, and what would you say kind of led you to ownership? What gave you that push to say, okay, well, I'm ready to pretty much own my own location and fully take this on?
Ability because I needed coaching myself. It was like a life-changing event that happened. So I had to stop coaching. So when I went into working at What a Peach just with the mindset of like, I need to pay bills.
Yeah.
But then once I got in, it was kind of like the experience of getting to know the customers, getting to know their stories, and just like making the food. I don't know, something, it sparked something in me. It was never a thing that I ever thought about.
You
Just
fell
being
in
there
love
and
with it.
I fell in love. Yeah, I fell in love with the cafe experience. I fell in love with getting to know the customers. I had regulars who I knew their entire life story. So it was a little bit of coaching, but in a I guess I did bring in my little coaching experience, but it was kind of in a more broad spectrum where it's not so specific to one person. So I really liked it. I really liked the cafe atmosphere, the ins and the outs. I don't know. I something it sparked in me. It was something that it's kind of like you never think about it, and then
Mhm.
when you're in it, you're like, wow, I'm in love.
Awesome. Now, a fun question so we can get to know you better.
Hmm.
If there was one thing you can change in the world with a magic wand, what would it be?
Insecurity. Like
In
in
everybody, so
anyone. Yeah.
everybody would be just very confident.
Very, yeah. And so I feel like the death of everything, whether it's dreams, whether it's kindness, whether it's everything, comes from insecurity. I
Oh, I
would
love that.
definitely eliminate insecurity. And I feel like if everybody had the secureness in their life with themselves, just with themselves, there would never be competition in the world. And that's kind of what leads to wars.
I love that. Honestly, that can eliminate a lot of unhappiness as well. I
Hmm.
think that's like the
Yeah.
first step on to working on ourselves is try to build our confidence.
Hmm.
Now,
Definitely.
what has been your biggest challenge so far going from working at a location and then fully taking on and operating a new location in this past 4 months?
It's funny you ask me that because I was just talking about that with a friend. I think it's the mindset because I've been a nine to fiver my entire life. And I'm 34 now. I'm 34. So going from a nine to fiver mentality to now ownership has been it's been difficult. I keep having to remind myself as I'm opening that gate to the store, I keep having to remind myself you're the owner. Like you're
You
not just
can't
clocking
stop.
in.
It doesn't end.
Yeah, you're not just clocking in and clocking out. So it's kind of it's that mindset switch, which takes a lot of work with any mindset. So any mindset switch, it takes a lot of reminder, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of patience on ourselves. So it's definitely that.
I see. Just to kind of like have your life revolve around it, that type of mindset, like you're
Hmm.
fully responsible for this. Is that what you mean or just or something else?
Definitely that too, but it's more just the mindset of an owner. So, as an employee, you go in, you clock out. But as an owner, you go in and you're there and your mind is always on it. So, like the mindset of like, even just let's say the dumbest thing, but like you go in and you see a little spot, right? As an employee, you're like, oh, the next person will get it. If you know what I mean,
I
we've all done
see.
that.
Yes, the
But as
care.
an owner, it's your baby. So like everything matters. Every little dot, every little piece of blueberry on the floor, like everything matters. So it's that switch to where, darn, like it is my responsibility, I guess, to
Yeah,
do everything, you
it's
know?
that level of care and how much you
Hmm.
really care for for your business. It's like your baby, like you said. Now, take us a day in your life. So, what does your life look like as a cafe owner? What time do you wake up? How do you operate? What's your daily responsibilities? What are some things that, you can shine the light on as a owner of a cafe? What does your life look like?
Okay, great question. I'm just learning it, but I actually have a schedule now, so I can totally give you the rundown. So I wake up at 4:30 to 5, depending on the task. If it's a shopping day where I have to restock, 4:30, wake up, make my coffee first. I have three little dogs, feed them,
No.
and make sure they have their outside time. Drink my coffee as I'm getting dressed, get out the door. Like run out the door, go to my do my online shopping, do my in-store shoppings, and then get to the store 7:30-ish because we open at 8. We're 8
Okay.
to 6 daily, so I have no days off. It's 7 days a week. So get
Wow.
to the store 7:30 to make sure everything's outside that needs to be outside and just start my opening process. And then I get home at 7:30-ish. Shower, sleep, same thing.
Repeat.
On repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I don't even eat.
Wow. Yeah, you're at a cafe.
Yeah,
Excuse
and
me.
I'm in a cafe, but it's like it's hard to like d like I said, it's like I feel like it's more the mental. Physical I got. Like I said, I'm a nine
Yes.
to fiver. I've been on my feet for hours. I've been sitting in a desk for hours. Like I have that part down. For me, it's the mental load that's really hard.
Yeah.
to get in the routine. But now that I have a routine, I think I'm good. I'm
And
surviving.
that's great. I mean, it takes some time to get in the flow and routine of things. You've just been like fully responsible for 4 months. Although you have great mentors that, you said your family business, they have other locations and they
Mm-hmm.
can guide you. So it's nice that you have somebody you can go to if you hit a roadblock. I guess part of like an official franchise, but part of owning a franchise, that's the benefit is you have some
Mm-hmm.
people to guide you if you do get stuck. But it is hard. I mean, like you said, there's no turning off 7 days for a cafe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ultimately, do you see yourself as hiring more people or you can kind of take a step back? Or in your experience through your family business, you have to be fully present there? Because I know there's like two ways of thinking about it. Some people think if you own a restaurant or a cafe or any food type industry, you
Mm-hmm.
just have to be there all the time. And some people find a way to have it be run by employees and other ways. What are your thoughts on that? What has been your experience?
I think I definitely want to hire. I will be there as much as possible, but I have other projects. Like I said, I'm a Gemini. There's always things going on in my head. So I have two podcasts that I'm currently recording for as well. I
Oh,
have
awesome.
my coaching business is definitely coming back because it's my passion, it's my life. So all of that is still on the line. I just need to get this in order and hire people and have it running the way it needs to run, and then I'm gonna continue on my other
Your other
projects.
ventures. Though that's a great
Yeah.
plan. Honestly, I'm glad that you're focusing on one thing at a time because
Hmm.
that's a common mistake entrepreneurs make. We get too excited. We want to work on all the projects and then we drop
Hmm.
the ball. It's just so much time and effort and energy we could put on a business or on a project. So I'm glad you're approaching it as one project at a time. And right now the cafe, you're getting it fully on its feet so it could be independent and then you could focus on your next thing.
Yes, yes. I've learned that the hard way because I tried to launch the two podcasts together, but previously it did not work.
Well,
It
tell
was
us
so
about
hard to
the two
record.
podcasts. So you said you're working on two podcasts, or eventually that would be your next focus. What are the two podcasts about, and why did you decide that there needs to be two separate ones?
Okay, so one of them is called The Roadmap to You.
Okay.
So that one is about when an event happens in our lives. It could be any type of event, tragic event. It could be something as dramatic as losing someone you love. It could be a breakup. It could be a goal that you set that you failed. So when something like that happens in our lives, we usually start to doubt ourselves and we usually start to lose ourselves. So I've had many events like that happen to me throughout my 34 years of living.
Yeah, I
So,
feel like we all go through it. Everybody goes through it. So
definitely.
it's great. It's great to have a platform to kind of talk about that.
I have a step-by-step program that I created for my clients with my experience with coaching and my personal experience. So the podcast is going to be the layout of those step-by-steps. Now it started with just me, and I had some recorded footage of just me. But a friend of mine and she's a career coach.
Okay.
So we got together and we decided we can combine both because now that I'm in a business and she knows a little bit more and stuff, she was coaching me on it. So we're going to combine our experiences, and it's going to be the first season is going to be roadmap to you, like back to yourself. And then the second season is going to be more about how to now that you know who you are, how to get that to be to help you through life, whether it's your goals, whether it's your career, relationship, every aspect.
I see. And is this podcast live or it's you have a launch date or this is going to be something in the future?
Launch date most likely mid-March.
Okay, yeah. So coming
I
up,
don't have a
you can wait for it.
specific, yeah, I don't have a specific date yet, just because I don't want to not launch it. Like that was my mistake in the first time around, is I had a specific date and I just launched and it wasn't my best work because I kind
It
of
wasn't ready.
Yeah, I wasn't ready. And honestly, there was a lot of things in my life that I needed to happen for me to be able to do this. So it's I like to say that God has a timing for everything, and it wasn't the timing. Now it's definitely the best timing for that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. So we did
Hmm.
touch upon everybody gets kind of this life event that's tragic that you just kind of are taken back, and we have to refigure things out. We have to either find ourselves, get our confidence back, or find the next thing to kind of keep us going. And it sounds like you did go through an event like that. I don't know if you want to share with the listeners,
Hmm.
but it's not quite necessary if you don't want to go into detail of what happened to you. But do you have some tools, or what are some of the steps, the top steps in your program that people can follow in order to get to a better place? So if it is a business failure, relationship failure, or any big tragic things that people go through.
Of course, I'm totally fine with sharing. Mine was a divorce. So, with the divorce, I was in this relationship for 10 years, in the marriage for 5. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a big chunk of my adult
Of
life.
course.
And kind of like who I was, what I did, it was all surrounded by this specific person. So at the end of the marriage, I kind of was lost in the sense I didn't know who I was.
By yourself.
So,
Yeah, we get
yeah.
dependent in our
Hmm.
relationship.
And as an Armenian woman, you can totally understand me as we go from our parents' house to now a husband. We
Yes,
don't
not only
have that.
Armenian, I learned that a lot of conservative cultures have those
Oh, really?
expectations. Yeah, and you, like you said, you fully start from depending on your parents somewhat, even if you're a very independent person
Hmm.
living in the same household, to having somebody else to share that space with instead of ever getting that chance to fully kind of learning who you are as
Yeah.
an individual.
Yeah, so once I was on my own and I chose the route of like fully, now that this is my life, I'm gonna be fully dependent. I mean, sorry, independent. So I moved out on my own. I didn't go back to my parents' house. I moved out on my own. I set myself basically in a way where now I'm responsible for everything. And that that was really, really good for me. And surprisingly, I think we doubt ourselves a lot because that happens so easily for me.
It does.
Easier than I thought. We're all capable of it, and that's a part of the program is getting to know who you really are. So the first step is self-awareness, and how I like to kind of paint this for people to understand really well is we've gone through our life on this canvas, and we have this canvas that everyone's thrown paint on, whether
Mhm.
it's like it could be people saying, "Oh, you're always late," or "You're this, you're that." Just like little comments. It doesn't have to be negative comments, but just comments that people make that we make our personality.
Yeah, it becomes part
So,
of our identity.
mhm. And that whole canvas is your identity. So what I like to do is the first step is throw that canvas away. We're gonna get a new canvas. And we're going to start painting our own image of ourselves. And every day, with every step, you're throwing a color onto this canvas. So when you get to know what you actually like, when you get to know how you like to spend your day by yourself, because even our day to days, if you're married, if you're living with your parents, if you have a partner, even if you're alone, sometimes you let people kind of guide you through the day. We
Yeah,
don't ever have.
it's easy for our schedule and our times to be filled if we're not in control of it.
Exactly. So this is kind of the steps I have. It's like a big step and then micro steps to action steps to do. So it's kind of getting to know yourself. So do you like painting? Do you, an interesting fact, I never thought I was a painter until I started doing my own program that I've been giving my clients for years. And I discovered painting is one of my favorite hobbies in this entire world. It
Wow.
just brings out this inner child energy. And I never knew this. I would have never thought in my 100 years of living, I would have never thought that I liked painting, but I tried it because in the program it says try something you would never try. So I went out, bought a canvas, bought paint. I took it literal and I did it and it was so fun. and that turns into my own little girls paint date. I do it by myself now.
I love that. I think trying new things is so important for our
Hmm.
creativity, for our soul, for our growth. So, and you never know what you're going to like and what's going to become part of your new identity, like you said, and what you want to be, who you want to be. A lot of
Hmm.
times we do get kind of stuck of being this person, but it's because of our past conditionings and our past lives and like you said what other people like our parents or people around us have kind of labeled us at. But when we sit down and really think about it, we could really choose who we want to be and work towards it. So it's nice trying new things in order to kind of try to build that new person, or that
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
upgraded version of yourself.
Yeah, I like to call it the highest self because at the end of the program, now you know exactly who you are. You know what your likes are, what your dislikes are. Now there is no insecurity, like I mentioned in the, you
Hmm.
know who you are. So if somebody comes at you with a comment that you know it's not really you, you really know it's not you, you're not going to pay attention to it. It's not going to get you to
Not
feel
gonna
any type
bother
of
you as
way.
much.
Yeah. Because if you know, let's say you're wearing red and someone comes and argues with you, you're wearing blue, you're not going to care. You're going to be like, I know it's red. It's
Yeah.
the same concept, but for our mental health.
Oh, I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
Of
Um,
course.
so again, building the confidence and finding out who you are as a first
Hmm.
step. So I know it's quite kind of a process to get to where we need to get. Is there any other key things that people should be thinking about before they're ready to kind of take on the world?
So another step that I would love for people to keep in mind, and this is going to sound kind of counterintuitive, and that's the interesting part. So the program is all about you and how to get you there. But in the program, there's also a step that I think people kind of don't understand when they think about it. So it's kindness to other people.
I see.
So the first thing you can, another one of the first kind of minor acts that you do in the first step of self-awareness is when you go out, you kind of keep in your head what you notice first about people. So if you notice their hair, if you notice their shoes, whether it's judgmental thoughts, because we all have it. We all have judgmental thoughts that come on instantly. It's like an instinct. We're humans. So whether it's a judgmental thought or it's a happy thought of, wow, that girl's blouse is pretty or hair is pretty, whatever you think, whatever you see on somebody first, that's what you're insecure about or secure about.
On yourself?
On yourself. Yeah. So it's a
Oh,
part of getting to know yourself because if you don't care about how your hair looks and that's not something you would never notice on somebody else.
oh,
So
interesting.
it's kind of a trick to trick your mind into getting to know yourself.
Huh. Can you give us a little bit, a specific example?
Of course. So what I did in the program when I first went through my own program was I said to myself, anytime you see a woman who is looking fly, who is looking put together, who is looking so nice, even if even if it's not like put together in the fashion sense, but like you like their hair, you like their lip color, you whatever it is, I make a note to walk to them and compliment them. Now
Okay.
this does two things. One, you're boosting that girl's confidence because we've all had somebody come in like at a bar, restaurant, whatever, and when a woman compliments you, it's a whole nother
Yeah, it
feeling. I
feels
feel like
good.
it feels really good. It boosts your confidence because I feel like us women we notice the small things more than men. We're just wired that way. So when a woman compliments you, you're like, wow, I really do look good. So it boosts the other person, which in return, which in the podcast I talk about the science behind this because there's some science behind when you compliment somebody else, you also get some serotonin and some chemicals going on in your body because you have now given somebody else joy, which in
Yeah.
return gives you joy. So that it helps you, one, get those good hormones, and two, what it does is you notice what you noticed about the other person. And I have a little project that I like to have my students do is I make them write in a journal at that second. Take out your journal, take out your phone, make a note of how you felt, what you complimented on. And then at the end of the day, in your journal prompts, at the end of the day, it's why, how did you notice that? Why did you notice that? And do you think that's an insecurity or a secure thought in your head? Like you really love your hair, so you notice your hair. Or is it an insecurity? Do you always wish your hair looked better? So it's like little minor steps that, and by doing that, you're also including kindness in the world. So you're spreading kindness while getting to know
Mm,
you. So it's
it's
like a
a
double,
win-win.
yeah.
I love
So that's
that.
another interesting thing that people don't think about when they think about finding out about themselves. We always center ourselves, but by we are humans and humans are we like to connect. We're a connecting species. So if you can the more you connect, the more you'll know about yourself. The more you're kind of isolated, you're gonna make up your own stories. It's not gonna be the true you. It's not gonna
I
be
love
authentic.
that. Well, we're getting close to our closing questions, so I'll jump
Mhm.
right into it. What are your top three life lessons that you've learned that have made you who you are today that you would want to share with other people? Um, your top three in your personal life, and then your top three in business. The top three
Okay.
lessons, either advice somebody shared with you, or three lessons you learned that you would want to pass on to other people so they don't make the same mistakes.
Perfect. Okay. My top three for life would be always be true to yourself. And this
Okay.
goes back to finding out who you are, but always be true to yourself is one. Two is, and I tell this to everyone I love, follow your first instinct. Whatever it is, when
That
you have
gut
that
feeling.
gut feeling, you just go with it. Even if it's something so wild that you never would do, go with your gut feeling because I like to say that that's God pushing you in the right direction and the devil is the doubt. So always go with the gut.
Okay.
And the third one is choose your surroundings very, very carefully, whether that's friends, whether that's relationships, because they bring you down or they lift you up. The
Yeah.
crowd I have now, everyone is where I want to be. So there, everyone is where what I aspire to be, and people in my own like I guess community that we've built together, everyone is someone I could learn from
I love
and someone that they can learn from me. So that's very, very important in life. I think we need to really surround ourselves with people that we get inspired from.
I love that. Okay. And in business?
For business, this one is interesting. For so my top three advice for business would be the first one is give yourself some grace and patience. I'm learning that one. Number two would be time management. I think learning, putting the time in time management, really learning it is gonna give you the success you need. I'm working on that one. I can admit my flaws.
Yeah, I think a
Um,
lot of people, we can all be better at that, but it definitely is a
yeah.
great skill to have in order to be more efficient so you could get more of what you want to get done.
And my third one, I think, let down the ego.
Okay.
Because I think we let the ego get in the way, especially in business. It's your business, so you think you know it all and you think you know what's best for the business. But sometimes even a customer, even like somebody that you think is just it doesn't know anything, sometimes the things that they say, you really if you really think about it, it makes a lot of sense. And our ego gets in the way. For me, I've noticed that my ego sometimes gets in the way. So learning to let down the ego is what I think really helps me learn and be more efficient in my work.
Yeah, and be better at what you do. I think that's so
Yeah.
important. A lot of times we kind of shut down. We think we know the best. We've learned, it's my business, and we don't really listen when somebody's telling us something because we just assume we know better. But I think that's a great skill if we could just kind of step back and listen with really an open mind. It could
Mhm.
be life changing and business changing.
It's the ego. The ego is in
Yeah.
life and in business, but specifically in business, I've noticed ego is really hard to let go of.
Yeah, well, of course, we need to work on that. Well, those were all amazing tips and advice that you shared with our
Thank
listeners. Thank
you.
you so much again, Jazz. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And
Thank you too.
thank you. And our last thing is, where can people find you or more information about your upcoming podcast and coaching services, and also the cafe?
Okay, so I have a Instagram for my coaching. It's the roadmap to you. You can the roadmap to you pod on Instagram.
Okay.
So that's where they can find the podcast and all information about coaching and everything. I also have my Instagram that they can follow that I also post updates on. It's Hasso, so ITS underscore HASO.
And we
So
can
if they
link all of that below to make it
yes.
easier.
Yeah, so once they follow that, everything will be announced through
That's
that.
the best place to get all the
Mm-hmm.
updates. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. Good luck with all your
Thank you so
ventures.
much.
And I look forward to seeing you in the online world and how what influence you have. And thank you for doing what you do and spreading the positivity and the joy to help other people
Thank
live
you
their
so
best
much.
lives. Thank you. Have a great, great rest of your day.
You too.
And
Thank you.
thank you to our listeners for always tuning in. And please make sure to reach out to me or Jazz if you have any specific questions. And we'll be more than happy to connect with you. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Please rate and review this podcast. Follow and engage with us on social media under the Yegi Project. And if you're interested in being a guest, email info@theyegiproject.com. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.